What's going on, my fellow A-plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new video. It's I, your more phenomenal host, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new video for you guys. Early access for our patrons, as we do with all of our Boom Studios comics, and then eventually these videos will be made available to the general public as well as our subscribers. But today, guys, we're going to be getting into Mighty Morphin Issue number 7. Look at this cover. I was impressed with this cover when we got it as our preview, which we discussed on A+ More Phenomenal last Saturday, always live Saturday at noon Central Time. Join us, guys. But this issue came out this past Wednesday at my local comic book store. Went ahead and had a chance to go ahead and pick it up. If you guys have not gotten your issues yet, please go ahead and do so. Support your local comic book stores as always. It's hard as a comic book store, as it certainly is these days anyway. So if you do have one nearby, definitely go ahead and get yourself a physical copy. But if you can't, definitely go ahead and check out Comixology.com. A great place to go ahead and get your comics digitally. You can go ahead and read them on your computer, tablet, or cell phone if you can't get to your local comic book store. So we had to play a little bit of catch up because we wind up actually missing Power Rangers issue number 6, which we went ahead and did a review for earlier on this week. That is currently on our Patreon at our $1 tier for you supporters out there if you're interested. And we probably will be dropping both of these, Power Rangers issue number 6 and Mighty Morphin issue number 7, sometime this weekend for the general public to certainly get their hands on for sure. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about this week's issue because I'm telling you, man, Ryan Parrott continues to certainly outdo himself. Power Rangers series is continuing to build its momentum, and so is Mighty Morphin, getting into some really personal and really tough decision making for a lot of our characters, to certainly say the least. I mean, I feel like the Lord Zedd ultimatum rather enticing, if you ask me, to certainly say the least. But if you guys have had the opportunity to read Mighty Morphin issue number 7, do me a favor, let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. And if you watch this after it winds up premiering, feel free to let your thoughts be known so we can go ahead and continue this conversation in the comment section if you'd like to. But in the meantime, guys, let's go ahead and dive into issue number 7 here. You know, one of the things that I will say that I immediately loved about this issue, going into this, I think a lot of us might have been under the impression that when it comes to Matt, the new Green Ranger, maybe we, at least for me at least, I was kind of going down the road of, oh, it's probably mind control, right? Like that's just the normal trope, it feels like, anytime that we get somebody that we thought was once good now acting in a certain other type of way, right? Especially with the cliffhanger. This just based off of the cliffhanger from issue number 6. All you see is Goldar and the Green Ranger together, and your mind just completely wanders in regards to all the possibilities here. So when we come to find out that it's definitely not mind control or anything else under that banner, and you come to realize that it's really just Matt and Grace Sterling just doing what they personally feel is necessary in order for Angel Grove to survive, it definitely makes this team up, I don't want to say a head scratcher, but it definitely makes for some fascinating conversations that's going to happen between a lot of these characters that we see firsthand, right? The reaction of our Rangers to Matt deciding to go ahead and ally himself with Lord Zedd, not in a sense to be a villain, but because of the fact that he feels he's doing what's right, certainly for Angel Grove. But considering the fact that when it comes to Lord Zedd and Rita and all these evils, if there's anybody that truly understands what the intent and purpose is of Lord Zedd, the idea that you can't trust this guy no matter what, it definitely is the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger team. So we quickly come to see them at odds. I love the fact here, especially Kimberly is really very feisty and very vocal out of everybody, it certainly seems. The idea that she gives Matt a great sort of sucker punch in this issue, I thought was brilliant, calling him a coward and things like that, right? I mean, the guy's literally been in the suit for what, like 2, maybe 3 days? I don't know. I can't remember how long he's been in the suit, but you can clearly see the idea. I mean, we've even had other Power Rangers in this issue talk about the idea that you're not really a Ranger, Matt, right? And maybe some of his decision making in here kind of goes ahead and maybe shows that a little bit. But I find it interesting that we have Grace Sterling in here, who's really the one that kind of makes the call. And I love the idea of why she went down this route and just the little jabs at the Power Rangers and Zordon that she winds up giving in here, right? The idea is like, well, what did you expect me to do? You guys, the protectors of this town, bounced, right? You left us in the middle of all this mayhem for days, for us to try and figure out what we wanted to do. And if our job truly is to protect Angel Grove, we certainly did what we thought was necessary. So when we see the other half of our Power Ranger team walking around Angel Grove trying to figure out what's going on, and you see the city is perfectly neat, right? There's no rain of destruction, no columns of smoke from burning buildings. Instead, you see Lord Zedd and his people fixing Angel Grove and helping out the community, right? Seeing somebody like stop a purse robber, if you will, planting trees and flowers, helping rebuild some of the previous destruction. All really in a means for Grace Sterling to try and at least save Angel Grove, even if it is necessarily for the time being. And just based off of Grace Sterling's past with Zordon and some of her arguments that she's had, especially when it comes to her program Promethea, she's always wanted Zordon to do more. Instead of just protecting Earth, maybe utilize some of this fantastic technology of yours that you have, right? But based off of this agreement that she's made with Lord Zedd, Zedd's given them technology to help kind of bring Angel Grove back to, I don't want to say power, but back to its rightful place, the idea of it being rebuilt and maybe even progressing as a city because of what Lord Zedd has certainly blessed them with. And she's even talking about the idea that Zedd has done more than Zordon has certainly done for Angel Grove. Now, that's definitely an argument you can certainly have if you want to, but you quickly see that really it's Grace Sterling giving into Lord Zedd for the idea of really building the city back up, protecting the city, all just for one little favor. And that one little favor definitely is for getting Zordon to Lord Zedd. That's really the only thing that Lord Zedd wants. But I love Lord Zedd's plan in here because it's so intricate. It's not just, it doesn't feel like just your normal villain type of plan, send the monsters out, let's destroy the city. It feels like a pretty well thought out plan, and I think Lord Zedd knew that there were going to be some people that certainly would take this bait and would take this offer, and meeting somebody like a Grace Sterling, he found exactly what it is that he wanted to. So for the safety of Angel Grove, all you have to do is give me Zordon of Eltar, right? And you can quickly imagine that, yes, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers aren't going to go for that, but I do think that it's a pretty ingenious plan here because he has managed to get Grace and the new Green Ranger to go on board with that in order to go ahead and save this world. But I like the mentality that Zedd has towards this. The idea that, the Rangers didn't ask for this. Zordon kind of pulled them into his war that these two have had over the years, right? And by pulling these teenagers into their fights, it's also putting in Angel Grove. And Angel Grove never asked to be attacked by aliens or anything like that, right? Now the Power Rangers have that opportunity. If we give up Zordon, then we can go back to our life of peace and Angel Grove would be extremely happy. My question certainly would be is, if the Rangers don't take this deal, what are the people of Angel Grove going to think? Because it seems as though, not that they're living peacefully, but I mean, they're living a little bit in harmony, if you will, with Lord Zedd and his monsters, right? Getting everything that they certainly want to. What happens when the Rangers come in, take all this stuff out, and take Angel Grove back to certainly where it was, with monsters still attacking, right? How are the Power Rangers going to explain to the town of Angel Grove that their ways are certainly better than what Lord Zedd certainly had in store for them? Now, granted, that's if you're taking Lord Zedd for his word, right? If you believe that he truly would leave Earth alone if he were in fact to have Zordon in his grasp. Now that you have to, maybe that's an argument that the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers will certainly lean on, that you don't know Lord Zedd like we do. There's a reason why you never trust this man, because he probably has another plan outside of the one that he certainly has told you. Maybe this is a lesson that Matt and Grace will certainly have to learn the hard way, but I'm really fascinated to kind of see where this goes, because this has already grown that animosity between Kim and Matt, along with Tommy and Matt, who is ready to go ahead and whip that ass in this episode, in this issue. It's really because of Kim being as feisty as she is to go ahead and make sure that everybody certainly sticks to their plan. Definitely making me feel like she's like the second in command of this team, and making sure that despite the fact that Tommy wants to beat that ass of Matt, you have other things that you have to do. So go ahead and take care of that. And it seems as though Kim probably gets in that good punch that Tommy wants later on in this issue. So I thought it was just a really great dynamic, really great dilemma for our Rangers to find themselves in. And I think it's going to be a lot of critical thinking that's going to have to go on for our Rangers, not only to figure out how they get themselves out of this, but a lot of come to Jesus moments in regards to what the meaning of being a Power Ranger is. How are you truly going to help your city after this, especially when you see it actually flourishing under Lord Zedd's sort of reign, if you will. So I am interested to see. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure that they're not going to give up Zordon, so I'm very interested to see how this is all going to go ahead and get squared away. Speaking of Zordon, one of the other things I continue to enjoy is the focus of the Eltarians. We do get ourselves yet another flashback, as we saw Zordon, what was it, 55 million years ago? Let me go ahead and pull out this comic and just double check the time period here for you guys, because last time we saw them, they were discovering the castle that eventually becomes Rita's. It says over 10,000 years ago, a moon in the A47 galaxy. We do see Zordon and the rest of his crew actually discovering the Zeo crystals for themselves, understanding its power, and the idea of it getting into the wrong hands just being an absolutely terrible idea. So this definitely feels like Zordon's first encounter with that, and it should be interesting to see how the Zeo crystal continues to play a role in Zordon's storyline as we go forward. But one of the things that I really loved in this issue was getting to see Zordon connect with one of his old Eltarian friends that we see very much in these flashback moments. And for me, it's interesting because of the fact that even though they haven't seen each other in over 10,000 years, the camaraderie and the friendship is immediately there when they wind up making contact in here. And you quickly get to see just how well they get along. The idea that the Eltarians are really looking to bring Earth into the fold, maybe a lot earlier than even Zordon certainly expected, but it is for a very good reason. And this is where we start getting these connective pieces once again to the Power Ranger comic book series itself, as we do in fact see this Eltarian, I believe his name was Zardis, that's right, Zardis, expressing concern over the Empyreals, which is something that Jason has brought up many times to Zordon, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they've had their conversation, which I'm surprised that Zordon didn't mention that in this issue, that he has heard of the Imperials from Jason before and the idea of them being this vast threat. So I am interested to see how this storyline is certainly going to connect with what Power Rangers is certainly doing, and I'm assuming, if anything, the Imperials will be part of a huge crossover event that we eventually get. I don't know if it's going to round itself up in the, maybe by the time we get to the 10s, issue number 10 for a couple of these series, or maybe a little bit further on, but we'll definitely see. But we clearly see the Eltarians having to deal and struggle with the Imperials, as we see Jason and the Omega Rangers in their series trying to hunt down the Imperials for themselves. So we definitely are on a crash course here with both of these Rangers teams eventually taking on the Imperials at some point in time. And one of the other fascinating things, just a quick honorable mention in here, is the great conversation that Billy winds up having with Zordon about being a leader, missing out on the opportunity to be out there with his teammates. And it does seem to be something that Billy wants to go ahead and tell Zordon, but he doesn't get the opportunity to do so. And I'm wondering if a part of that is to finally reveal the truth for Zordon, that he's been working with Grace this entire time to create the new Green Ranger, because he is yet to reveal his sort of connection to that, even though Aisha is very much aware of the connection. She's been rather hush-hush and not revealing it to anybody. So I am interested to see if that was one of the things that Billy wanted to talk to Zordon about, and maybe also the idea that he maybe wants to work with Promethea, or maybe no longer be a ranger and kind of move on to do other things with his life, if you will. So I am really fascinated to see that conversation at some particular point in time go down with Zordon, because it seems like it's something that Billy wants to have a conversation with, but doesn't really know how to have that conversation at all. So, overall, guys, really great issue, really fun, amazing dilemmas in here. Great, getting to see how our characters handle the situation that they're certainly in. So I continue to love what Grace Sterling is doing in this season. Her particular ideology and viewpoints that continue to clash with Zordon that have really led us to this particular point in time. I am wondering if Grace has another plan up her sleeve that she hasn't certainly revealed as of yet, but I love just the ultimatum that Zedd has given our Rangers, along with his plan. I think he's doing a very marvelous one that's really going to put our Power Rangers in a very difficult position. And again, it is something that I hope we get to see how Angel Grove handles these decision makings that are kind of really taken out of their hands, you know what I mean? And then of course all the great Zordon stuff and the great flashbacks in regards to the Eltarian. So I absolutely love it. I do have a question for you guys. I am not familiar with these characters that are in fact inside of this castle that is in fact on the moon. They definitely feel like ancient trees. When I look at them, I think of like what Groot from Marvel would certainly look like when he's like a couple thousand years old. I don't know if they're connected to the Morphing Masters. When they speak, their word bubbles are empty, but they do have like some primary colors in here, and like just colors associated with Power Rangers and things like that. And some amazing powers of, looks like, growth or whatever the case may be. So I am curious as to if they do have connections to the Morphing Masters at the end of the day. But if you guys are familiar with who they certainly are, please let me know in the live chat or the comment section box below. But overall, guys, I continue to love this particular series. Power Rangers is on an uptick as well for me. So Ryan Perry continues to have my attention each and every month. And I'm looking very, very forward to the future issues here. But guys, if you've had the opportunity to check out issue number 7 of Mighty Morphin, what did you guys think? Give me some of your pros, some of your cons, whatever great character moments or storyline moments you enjoyed from this episode. I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts. But in the meantime, do me a big favor. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification, so when we drop brand new videos, you'll definitely be notified. Check us out every Saturday live at noon Central Time for another weekly episode of A+ More Phenomenal. But until then, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.